Hi, everybody. Welcome to the immediate aftermath of our Monday, February 11th, 2013 talk show. We had a lot of stuff going on today, the upcoming Chris Kyle Memorial Service, the incredible speech by Dr. Benjamin Carson. Let me take you elsewhere on 660amtheanswer.com. I posted just a couple of rungs below where you're probably watching this. You'll see what we posted in its entirety, the speech by Dr. Benjamin Carson, the director of pediatric neurosurgery at Johns Hopkins University. It was at a prayer breakfast on Thursday night, and President Obama was there, Dr. Carson was there. Interesting juxtaposition as Dr. Carson threw down some truths that went right at the gut of a lot of what President Obama's trying to do. The tension is delicious. Watch it and enjoy it. A lot of people are saying, wow, Dr. Benjamin Carson for president. I may soon be one of them, so keep your eye on it. And I'm not really kidding. I don't mean let's wave a wand and make him the nominee, but I would certainly welcome him in there along with the Rubios and the Rand Pauls and the Paul Ryans and whoever else is running. One quick thing before I get to a new pope, which we're going to get here in a couple of minutes, or in a few weeks. For a couple of minutes today, we talked about the Tea Party response to the President's State of the Union. Here comes the State of the Union, as will happen every year. And then there is a Republican response, and that'll be delivered by Marco Rubio, a guy whose ascendancy was was in part due to a whole lot of Tea Party fuel in his state of Florida. But then, kind of like we had in the past, we had a Michelle Bachmann Tea Party response, and I thought, okay, well, maybe the Tea Party response will be of a somewhat different style, of a somewhat different content, and kind of coming from some different place. And there was I had an ability to carve out some positive feelings about that. These days, when Tea Party passions are supposed to be infused up into what Republicanism and conservatism are all about, I think the Rand Paul Tea Party response has a couple of negatives to it. None of it's about Senator Paul, whom I love, and none of it is about his content. It's just that when you say we're going to have the president, then the Republican response, then the Tea Party response, it's like, okay, there's that. Now here comes the real conservatism. And sadly, that may be true, especially as Senator Rubio may be in the process of going soft on immigration and who knows what else. But it kind of throws the party under the bus a little bit. And look, I want the party to get a wake-up call. I want the party to be infused with Tea Party passions. But it's like, okay, now here's the real, Tea Party. It suggests that Tea Party people waver in their strength of view if they happen to think that the Rubio response is sufficient. I want Rand Paul talking all the time, and Mike Lee and Ted Cruz and other Tea Party senators, but to have the Tea Party response seems to me to be a devaluing of the Republican response. I'd like whatever Rand Paul says in the Tea Party response, or whatever future Tea Party responders say in their State of the Union responses, I'd like for them to essentially be the content of the Republican response. Let's subsume all this up into the actual Republican response and just have that be the bold and unapologetic conservatism that really is at the heart of what the Tea Party is. Okay, now let's get to what I'm actually talking about. I drive in this morning and I was watching the Grammys last night and, paying attention. I'd done a lot of homework and paying attention to the news during the day. But after that, I kind of said, man, let's watch the Grammys, go to bed. And then I wake up this morning and Pope Benedict XVI, he's out of here. He's stepping down. Popes don't resign. They die. They die in office. They linger for as long as they linger. They never leave. Well, never say never. Was it 600 years ago we had a pope actually step out before stepping off this mortal coil? I think this is actually pretty neat. Pope Benedict XVI he's 85. He looks at himself and says, this Pope business, it's busy. You got to travel. You got to be energetic. There are a lot of masses to deliver, a lot of traveling to do, a lot of people to meet. And if he's just not up to the task and says, I've prayed about this and maybe somebody a little younger, a little more vigorous needs to hold this job, good for him. Now, popes used to just waste away, as some of us will do. And the faithful always said, well, if it's God's will to have a pope that's, not really out there doing much for the last year or two of his life, it doesn't mean that his life can't still be inspiring and that he can't issue various pronouncements, and that's all true. But as we go looking for a new pope, and I'm a former Catholic. I was for about 10 years. Another story I'll tell you another time. I'm a fan of the church. I love them. I will always stand steadfastly against Catholic bashing. The papacy was always kind of a curious thing to me, the infallibility on moral issues. The Pope is either human or he's not. And I believe that he is. So we had a little dust up about that. But you know what? If you ever have a disagreement with your church, don't look to them to change. If you can't handle it, there's the door. And rather than, and like all the nuns who say that women ought to be priests, guess what? No. A priest is the earthly manifestation of God, who is a father figure. Father figure. A woman, and God bless women, I think we've made that clear, are not capable of delivering a father figure example. Can they parent? Of course they can. Are they good people? Of course they can. Can they be of value in a church? By all means, of course. Can they be clergy in other faiths, like the Episcopal faith and others? Absolutely. But all these nuns who say you need to change and make women priests, no, they don't. They don't have to change that at all. If it's something you can't handle, go find an Episcopal church. Anyway, though, as we go looking for a new pope, I hope that it's someone who has the clarity that Benedict XVI had. This is a guy who went into Africa, where if people are, let's say, pardon me here for a second, using condoms, there might be less of a spread of AIDS. Absolutely. However, the whole condom thing, that's a no-no in Catholicism, as is all contraception. Now, you may agree or disagree with this. You may be Catholic and disagree with it, as many apparently do. But it is a view of clarity that the church has, that you don't mess with the building blocks of God's creation, his creation of us. You don't mess with that in any way. So Benedict XVI goes into Africa and says, guess what? Even if it solves some other problem here in the human world, we don't fudge on our principles. We don't compromise on what we believe. So anyway, I hope that his successor, to be determined later this month, has that kind of clarity. I hope I have some kind of clarity here. I've been all over the place. It's kind of like listening to the show. Mark Davis Show, 7 to 10 a.m., right here on 660 a.m., The Answer.